Hi guys, Natalie here. Thanks for everyone in the watching along and in the comments. Get your comments in. It's just a casual catch up. 3 women who love football, love women's football, and so that's what we're going to talk about really today. Emma, thank you for coming on. Thank you for always coming on. I'm good. People are already dropping comments in, Mannion and Turner. Now we're going to get onto the Mannion stuff. How have you been, boss? It's been a long time. Doing good?
I'm doing good, yeah. How are you doing? Are you okay?
Good, I'm good. I'm happy to be on, happy to be doing my show. And anything you want to update us on, or you doing? Oh,
you know everything that you need to know.
Yeah. So far, good. Chloe, it's your first time on. People who've been to the games probably do know your face. But just tell everyone about yourself. And thank you for coming on, All for United.
No, thank you for the invite. It's been exciting to be part of it, and I'm looking forward to the show. Yeah, go and watch the women and the men. Followed them for a long time, so yeah, it's nice to be on the show.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for coming on. No, it's good to have you on, and you're always welcome back on. So it's been busy for Man United, and obviously we've got a Man City fan on, Emma. And there's a player I just want to touch on before we sort of go into the main chat of today, which is sort of like, 3 women, talk about women's football and why we love it. But Aoife Mannion, she signed. It was a name that I think you first dropped to me, Emma, and it made sense. Yes. But talk to us about Aoife, and obviously, like you said, you first dropped it, but what are United getting with that player? I know John's saying Mannion and Turner. I expect them to play. I know a few fans are not disappointed, but worried because of, she had the injury at City. And obviously she said in her video she's over that now. And we're going to see the best. But what's your take on Aoife Mannion and joining United and just her overall?
Yeah, I kind of feel I said this probably somewhere else, but one of the deals that I kind of hope that we would see done at City is to obviously get her to commit to the club, and obviously that wasn't so. I kind of feel that we never really got the opportunity to see the best of Mannion in terms of what she could do. When she came to City, it was a relatively big signing. Fans were calling out for her to be called up to the England squad, and obviously just before that was announced, she made her first sort of call up to that England team. And, she played so consistently well for Birmingham before coming over to City. And I think you'll probably remember that, that first game that she had, a debut game at the Etihad, and she almost looked as if the occasion got to her a little bit. But she sort of gained a confidence throughout that game and in the matches that she played. And unfortunately, it ended quite soon. She had played about 4 or 5 games and then obviously picked up that ACL, which obviously saw her out. I think it was about 15 months that we lost her for. So it was a real long recovery for on the sidelines, and just really struggled to find her way back into the team when she did sort of start that recovery and wanted to start to get back into the team playing minutes and that. And again, we didn't see all that much of her. So I think a move to United will be good for her, good for you. She's a fairly consistent player, deserving of consistent minutes as well. So, she's already trying to win over the fans and get you behind her, which is nice to see. And she's that type of player. She's, not just a good player, she's a decent human being as well. So I think you've got a good one there.
Yeah, John Foster in the comments, fellow Brummie. That's what we might have to try in. Yeah, well, yeah. I might have to try and teach her a few mank words. I'm sure Millie and all that will be on it. Like, this is not how you say it. This is Manchester. Oh, listen. Let's see what happens now. No, she is winning us over. I felt that what she said, I was so shocked at it, surprised at it. I understand why. I mean, she was a player that I can say from speaking to a few United fans at that time when we were coming up. Maybe we were too ambitious, but we wanted her. We wanted her because, like you say, she was having those call-ups. I know Craig, if he comes in, he raves about her. Hi, Namra, thanks for joining us. But, that was a player that we wanted. And obviously, we got Abby Mack. And, obviously, then now she's left and gone to Leicester. But I know that the first choice was Mannion. And I think people were upset that she didn't come, and then now she's sort of, like you said, it's sort of. Do you feel, Emma, that it's sort of you didn't give her a contract, or she wanted to leave? Where do you feel like you know City better than me, better than all these Reds? What do you think?
I literally feel as though she would have struggled to find her way into the team, and she's just been through this horrific recovery back to fitness, and she wants to play. And I think it's an ideal opportunity for, like I said, for both yourselves and for the player. And I do feel, give her half a chance, she will become well loved, well liked, and a real integral part of that back line as well for United.
Chloe, big United fan. Obviously, you were there the first season, and then obviously, we got Abby, and then we've not been able to get in and see Amy. And I know you're a massive Amy Turner fan. I mean, God, I saw a little post, and it was like, oh, money is, and I thought, no, too soon.
Yeah.
What do you think of her? Because we're used to Turner and Turner, especially Amy T. She smashed it last season, and I just think that big boots, big, massive.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good signing for us. She's been out for a while, and I think it'd be good for her to get the consistency that she needs. Like you say, she hit the ground running at Birmingham. There was, England call-ups on the horizon, and she just, unfortunate for her, the City time didn't work out. Hopefully she stays fit for us and she gets that run. And like you say, as a human being, she's a great person. And I was, like you, Nat, quite shocked with her interview when she signed. It was quite refreshing to see. And it filled you with positivity that she was ready and she was willing to fight, which is what you want when that player's wearing a badge that you follow.
One thing I will say as well, though, just on that, if Mark Skinner does come in, he's going to get the best out of her, without a doubt. If anybody knows that player better than anyone, it's Mark Skinner. So, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it's a really good move.
Yeah, 18 people watching, guys. Drop a like on the video. Really appreciate you all coming over and watching. John Foster, obviously, he's always on the Thursday show. But what do you think? Think she's quicker than the two Turners? Obviously, I'm classing you, Emma, as the Mannion expert tonight.
Oh, that's a hard one. She does work hard. I'll give her that. She will cover a lot of ground, and she's quite a forward-thinking player as well. She will sort of attack the lines as well. So, I think just a bit of confidence. She'll need that at the beginning of the season, and then, like I said, I think she'll hit the ground running, and she's solid. She is very solid. She'll make them challenges. She's quite tidy. From what I've seen of her, I'm basing this more really on what I saw at Birmingham than I am really of that I saw of her at City. But honestly, I hope that she was a bit of a peak of her career, and then that sort of obviously dropped off. I really hope that she can hit them levels again.
Definitely. I mean, for us, Amy Turner is, I think all the fans, like, she's that one. And I think last season, I think a lot of fans are saying she was our best defender. So obviously we've lost her now. She wanted to go to America. I understand why. But, Mannion, big boots to fill. And I think she's sort of filled them in the way with Amy Turner being the way she is. Because she came out and was like, listen, I'm here to win you guys, and I want to do it for you guys. And that's sort of how Amy is. I've got Zoe in. Zoe's been on the show before, and thank you, Zoe, for joining.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
It's okay. I know your internet was a bit 50-50, but I'm glad that you're here. But Zoe, I don't know if you've just heard what Emma said about Mannion, and then what I've just said about Amy. Obviously, we are devastated. I'm still crying over it. I'm still a bit sensitive, and I know for Chloe it'll be even worse. So yeah. What do you think, Mannion? She's come in. She said she was giving that sort of passionate interview, and obviously, Amy is big boots to fill. But what's your views on her and the fact that she hasn't played a lot at City? Does that worry you, or what's your feelings about her coming in and potentially being next to Millie?
Yeah, no, I've heard lots of positive things, so I'm really excited to see her play for United. I always say that I don't really know a lot about these incoming players because I'm just a United fan. I don't really pay attention to anyone other than United. So But no, I'm really excited to see what she can do. And yeah, I mean, Amy was a massive blow for us, really. I mean, a lot of us sort of knew that it was on the cards, but she was so solid last season and was solid, as a captain as well for a lot of games. So it was a big blow. But I'm really excited by Mannion's interview, like you said, and she's sort of already won us over in a lot of ways. So I'm really excited to see what she can do, as you say, next to Millie.
Yeah, for me as well, I think the reaction from City fans was a bit different from when Abby went to then when Mannion. I think there was a lot more. Maybe it's me reading it wrong, reading the room wrong. I mean, Emma, you might know a bit different as well. But I think when Abby joined, it was like, thank you, Abby. But when Mannion, it was like more upset, like you really wanted her to stay. Not that you didn't want Abby to stay, you want everyone to stay.
No, I mean, obviously, Abby had been at the club for a long time. She'd been a good servant to the club. So I think it is different in the fact that, Mannion had given a lot to the club. But, when you weigh it up against Mannion and what she's given the club, it's kind of like that disappointment of really not being able to see the best of her. We've not really seen it. So, I think she didn't even get into double figures in terms of the games that she played. So, for the 2 years that she'd been at the club, really, on reflection, it's not much in terms of, what she's offered the club. But again, it's not her fault. And I think that's kind of where you feel that kind of sentiment in terms of you just wish that you could have had a bit more, but it was just unfortunate that it ended the way it did.
Yeah, definitely. Vicky's put a comment in there. Bonus that she's played with Hayley Ladd should make it a bit more solid centrally. Girls, I'm going to come to you, Chloe. What do you think then? Defence, midfield. I know we've added Thomas as well. I'd like to see a few more attackers come in. But are you happy so far then with all the business? I mean, Bagley as well come in, full-backs.
Yeah,
so far
so good. It's nice to see their work, like you say. And Vicky's mentioned there about her playing with Hayley Ladd before, so it'd be nice to create that spine that we look to for the team, because I don't think we've really had that cemented yet. So I think that could be something to look forward to. And the signings so far have been good. So long may it continue. I think definitely we need a few more through the door before September starts. But the way we're going, we can continue to do that.
Yeah. And Zoe, it's all right. Zoe, what's your thoughts on all the signings? Obviously, Mannion, Bagley, Blundell, Thomas, who's just come in. Oh, I can just see Namrat saying good forwards. John saying strong across goalkeeper, midfield, striker next. What's your feeling so far then?
Yeah, I'd like to see another striker come in. I'm not as excited as I was last year. But, the circumstances are very, very different this year. And it's just nice to see us, after all the upset at the end of the season and with Casey leaving, and losing some of our best players, in my opinion, like Amy Turner, like Lauren James. It's just nice to see us moving in the right direction again now, because for a while with no action, I was getting a little bit worried. So it's great just to see us moving in the right direction, signing some good people that could have a lot of potential at United in particular. And I'm just it feels a lot more positive than it did 4 weeks ago, for example. So I'm happy. I mean, with Bagley, that is one player that I'm a big fan of my goalkeepers, and I have noticed her potential, and I'm quite excited that we have sort of strengthened our goalkeeping union. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do, and I'm feeling positive. I think I'd like one more to come in. But we'll see.
Yeah, Vicky's saying it's looking more well-rounded, and I would agree with that. And Namra, we'd signed Staniforth, Battle and Fuso this time. So obviously all the big ones come towards the end. And just saying, few marquee. Let's see. Let's hope. I think Emma, sorry. Go on. No, that's what I was just about to come to you. What do you think?
I think as what Zoe said there, the word was potential. A lot of those signings that you've made front to back so far, they're players with potential. And I think a lot of those players would probably have been earmarked by Casey, perhaps before she did leave, which is why these deals now are being done and obviously being announced, which is really interesting to see how she kind of envisioned that squad being shaped for next season. I certainly don't think you've got as much to worry about as perhaps you might think. Obviously, it's took a while for it to get going, but now the ball's rolling. It certainly looks quite good.
Yeah, I'm definitely waiting on that marquee. Maybe a few more wingers, has a bit more depth up top, but then I think it's rolling. Like you say, obviously, girls and guys, keep putting the comments in, keep telling me what you think. We can go back to it, we can go forward from it. But obviously, girls, got you on because I think Dennis sort of hinted it before. I just want to talk about why we love women's football, and I think it's important. I mean, I'm not saying that all women have to watch women's football. It's not just women. There is men too, but I think it is good to see, little girls, but like grown people like me, like Zoe, like Chloe, like Emma, watching it and getting behind it and being so passionate about it. I was never a fan of women's football. I think everyone knows that. I think a lot of our fans, that's the sort of, how can you say, stick sometimes, but no, I think it's good, and I want to see more people coming over. And there is a lot of women who watch football in general, which is good. There could be more, but I think it's good that now we're seeing more women watching women's football. I mean, that's just a point that I want to throw out and just sound off you guys and see what you think. Emma, Chloe, Zoe, whoever wants to go first, don't worry.
Who wants to
Emma,
go?
go on.
Go on, Em.
I'll let you go.
Yeah, I mean, I think like when I first started watching the women's game, I was introduced to it. It was international. It was England. It was, your Faye Whites, your Kelly Smiths and your Sue Smiths, and then I watched that game, watched a few games, and it was really slow. It was lackluster. It wasn't a technical game that we get to enjoy, week in, week out at the moment. And it has come such a long, long way, and it's just continuing to grow all the time. And I think when I really sort of got into women's football was probably around like 2016, 2017, and especially around the Euros. And that's when I just really fell in love with the game. And just seeing how far it's come and where it's going as well with all the broadcast deals and the investment. I just hope we continue to see that obviously poured back in, especially at, the grassroots where it's really needed to push the game forward and to ensure that, things continue to move in the right direction as well.
Yeah. Chloe, I mean, I don't remember there. I know it sounds really strange, but I don't remember there being a Euros. I'm guessing you're talking about a women's Euros, Emma. I don't remember that, yeah. And I think that's because
I just saw it.
I think I wasn't not interested, but obviously there wasn't a Man United team that get me interested in it. I mean, Zoe, you're sort of like me. I know I'm going to come back to you, Chloe, but you're sort of like me. You started to watch it maybe a bit more when United came in, and I'm not sure about you, Chloe. I know we can talk, but that wasn't, it wasn't on my radar. Whereas this year's Euros is, because I think, Emma says, there's more interest in it. It's more this. They're really promoting the WSL and the women's game, and I think it's going to be on mainstream telly. And like I said, I'm looking to go to a few games, not just the England games, a few games. So what do you feel like now, Zoe or Chloe, whichever one, sort of probably even when 2016, when there was a women's Euros, to like now and this one coming up, and United, and how you got interested?
Yeah, I came from it from a United point of view. I didn't know women's football really existed until United got themselves a team, and then it's been exciting to watch it grow from then, really, because since then we had the Women's World Cup, and that was televised, and that allowed me to see a lot more players than just our United ones. But yeah, for me, I came from a family who loved men's football, and we watch it week in, week out, and then the interest wasn't there in women's football, purely because didn't have a team to support, you know. And I you know, I've heard a few people who are men's United men's fans, and they started watching City women, but I can't ever sort of imagine doing that myself. So yes, for me, it's because my club has a women's team now that I got interested in it. And like I say, it's brilliant to see it grow. And you know, I can understand why some people can't get into it if they've come from the men's game. But for me, the talent is improving year on year as well, and that's just exciting to see. I mean, you know, it's like I've always said about Lauren James, her footwork and her ability is world class for me, and it's those kind of players. And when you find them, and especially when they play on your team, it can be just as exciting. And you know, we can build that atmosphere that's in the men's game as well. And you know that I don't know. For me, it's just you know, I love my club, whether that's men, women, or academy players, and that's how I see it. But I know a lot of people don't see it the same.
Yeah,
It's
no,
really
I go on.
So
Go on, Emma.
I was going to say an example of like something similar to, you know, some of the conversation that I've had, particularly with men. Like when you do speak to them about the women's game, a lot of them, you'll say, you know, it's my club. You know, if they announce they've got a beach volleyball team tomorrow, I'd still support them. And that's just how some people are, isn't it? When it comes to supporting your club, regardless of what they're doing, they just back them 100%.
No, definitely. Chloe, I don't know. I mean, you can tell us your story but definitely I feel like there is that more, like what Zoe said, like when my club came involved, that's when my interest came involved, per se. And there are more clubs are like putting down more money in. Spurs, Leicester, you know, big Premier League clubs, even seeing Burnley talking about going full time. Do you think the more these men's clubs put in, then we're going to see more interest? You know, because obviously then people will have their club, you know? Or do you think it's just going to grow anyway? Go on, sorry.
I think there's a bit of both. I mean, I come from it from a little bit of a different side of it, is that I started playing football when I was 3 and football's all I've ever known. So going into women's football, I would follow, and you touched on it then. For me, the key thing is representation. When I was younger, I didn't have what we have now, that it's on your TV on a daily basis. It's being talked about. We've got the shows, we've got these podcasts about women's teams, and it comes back to the clubs. If they put it in, they represent, you follow them. You know, we've been United fans, City fans for years, and Emma touched on it then. Whatever team or sport your club has, you will always follow. But for me, as a women's sport, as women's football, and being in it from an early age and following it from an early age, to see the representation now to where it come from is good. I mean, we had the Euros in 2005 in Manchester, and I'll always remember we played at the at City, and Kaz Carney scored a winner against Finland, and the buzz that day was amazing. But there wasn't many. I always remember there wasn't many girls around watching it. Whereas if you look now, on obviously next year, the Euros are back in. There's more of a buzz. You know, there's more girls interested in it. You know, that there's more teams around. There's more girls football teams around, and we're forever progressing from where we've come from. And I think Joey touched on it with the World Cup. Again, I think that when it was in the States, when we got bronze, that kick-started it again. And I want to see more for the legacy from these big tournaments at grassroots level, and opportunities, not just in the big cities, but elsewhere as well, to get them opportunities.
Yeah, 100%. I think a word you touched on there, and it's hit home to me a bit, representation. And for me, I think we're seeing more on, but I think as well we need, I like I said, not just big cities. I go and watch Sheffield as well. Gonna try and go and watch some tier 3, tier 4 football when it comes back. And that's, like you say, that's where the money needs to go. It needs to go into these, needs to go into those kind of things. I mean, I think we are seeing the Premier League, they have the money, Man United can put money. They don't need, I mean, obviously you want it to be self-sufficient. Everyone wants their club to stand alone and not you know, be able to do it on their own. But I think we're seeing now, and I think Sheffield have just noticed that Rhiannon Lord Mays and I think Zoe's popping out, and Courtney Sweetham-Kirk scored, I think, a whole load of goals today, and that's what made me think. And I thought, yes, I love to see black women shine, and I never saw that, and I think that makes me so proud. And I'm 29, I can't kick a ball, but I'm like you, Chloe. I started kicking a ball when I was 3 and 4, and I wanted to do it, and I think now a little girl like me can do it. Whereas I think other distractions happened throughout my life, going out partying and all that, but there wasn't that club there, and I think that there wasn't that Man United for me, because that's where it all came down to. I mean, I was offered a chance to go and play, but I don't think, like I said, other things made me not stay as interested, teenage life, you know. But girls, I mean, I know, like, Chloe's here, I know she plays. I had her on the show talking about the WSL. But, like, have you girls ever played? I know you still play, Chloe. But what do you think it is? Because you see loads of little boys when you go down to football clubs, but not all them teams them have little girls teams, say. What's everyone's thoughts?
I mean, I remember when I was a kid, I mean, you know, brought up with football, loved football. You know, I had a lot of boyfriends, if you like, you know, knock on the door with the football, you're coming out playing, you know. Like, and I remember one of my fondest memories that I had was in actual middle school. And I remember there was a Coventry City player, because I'm actually from the Midlands, called Les Cartwright, and he had a soccer school, and I begged my dad to go. I was so excited, and they were like, Dad, don't really want to go. And he's like, you can't go, you're going to be the only girl. And it's like, well, if you can go, I've asked them and they've said I can go, so like, come on, let me go. And I had to fight really hard to earn their respect in that group of lads and stuff. And I remember we were doing rondos and, you know, shielding the ball. And I remember, you know where you have to shield the ball and kick everybody else's ball out of the box, and last one standing wins. And I remember winning that. And that was almost a moment where I'd earned their respect to be allowed to play amongst this group of players. And I loved it. And you know, we always used to play, but there was no girls teams. But when I heard about Laura Bassett and her story and her progression from when she started out as a footballer, she used to play at a local club, Bedworth United, the women's team. And that's how she got spotted and scouted and one thing and another. And I was just gutted, because if I'd have known about that, I could have been playing with her. Do you know what I mean? Because we're a similar age. So, but no, my football career never took off. I chose hockey. Okay. But yeah, it's just fantastic now that, you know, we have these Wildcat group sessions as well for, you know, young girls, and a lot of, you know, again, talking about grassroots football, you know, local to me, like Stalybridge Celtic, Curzon and Ashton, you know, they've got a lot of, you know, girls teams now coming through, and right through the ages as well, you know, getting good and involved from a young age, getting the ball at their feet and just enjoying it as well. And like you said, being inspired by these players that, you know, I mean, look at this monumental moment that we're in at the moment, competing in the Olympics. Look what London 2012 did, and look how good that was, you know, for us. So, you know, amazing, really, as well. And I hope it continues. I hope people continue to be inspired by these girls.
No, definitely. And I mean, jockey has also put a thing, has to be changed in schools. And I remember I was in school, primary, and we always used to play after, like, dinner time, break time, play football. But then year 6, I think they only had a team, and it was boys only. I mean, yeah. So that was just me not playing. Zoe,
well, that's the same.
What's your experience? Have you ever played or tried to play? Were you ever interested in playing? For me as well, I think, and I'll come back to this point, but I think the more sort of like people playing is good. I mean, I've tried to go and play, but I'm not, you know what I mean? But, you know, I think more people like Chloe playing. It is good. It does push it up. It'll help for the younger ones, I suppose, that are like me, probably not going to be WSL players, but you can still play. You're still a team. So what's your experience, sorry?
Yeah, I always played. My brother's 2 years older than me and massive football fan, and so it started, from being able to sort of walk and run and kick a ball. We'd be out there, in the rain or shine. We'd be out there kicking a ball or playing cricket or something. And then at school, at primary school, I joined a team. I think I was the only girl on the boys' team, and it was great, and I loved it. And then went to secondary school, and there was we weren't allowed to play on the boys' team, and we had a girls' team in our first year, but there was only 10 players, so we couldn't play any matches because we couldn't field a full team, and none of the teachers were interested in running the girls' team. It had to be one of the sixth formers, one of the older girls, if they wanted to do it as part of, a project, if they were studying PE later on or whatever. And so it lasted for about a year, and then the girls' team just disappeared. And I actually went to the rival school to where Katie Zellum was at. Me and Katie Zellum are like the same age. So I always think now, if my school had just had a girls' team, maybe I'd have played against her, or but yeah, we didn't, and obviously we got to an age where we weren't allowed to play on the boys' team anymore. So yes, I just didn't have the opportunity to take it any further. But I wasn't great. I was one of these that sort of, I'd sometimes play in net and I'd sometimes play up front. I'd just like to be on the pitch wherever it was. I ran around like a bit of a mad woman, really, and was always offside. So I probably wouldn't have been any good. But it was it was a shame that you couldn't have tried it. As young girls, we didn't have the opportunity to really see whether we were any good. So yeah, it's great to see that improving in parts around around where I am. I know it is improving, but there's still a long way to go. But I think that's like so important to have just like the things like the TV deals and stuff, and to be able to see full matches when they're on, because it does get young kids inspired. I mean, it inspires all of us, and I'm sure we all sort of dream of secretly, scoring a goal for United or whatever, and wonder what that must be like. But it's inspiring those young girls, and then they're going to go into school and say, why haven't we got a team? And hopefully it'll form, and hopefully the teachers will see it and think, oh, that'd be good for my girls or whatever. So it's great that it's got this exposure that it has now.
Yeah, I think you sort of hit on a few points, and I think that's the same thing that happened to me. I think I was, when you get to that teenage, I think that's where it drops off as well. And girls, and like you say, do the teachers want to do it? And then that's where I say, like the teenage, adulting. I mean, I think when you're a kid and you're 5 years old, you'll knock on for anyone, you won't care. But I think when it gets to that age, I mean, Vicky sort of said it, changing attitudes. And I think, I think from my side, I think I've always had hair like this. And if I'm playing football, then you're a tomboy. But why am I a tomboy? Why can't I play football and then put a dress on at night and go out and chat with boys and do all like the girly stuff? And I think there's that thing. I think you get put in that bracket. And I think if women play football, you get put in a bracket, and it needs to sort of stop in a way. I think everyone can play it. Go on.
It's all about stigma, isn't it? Like a lot of the women's game revolves around stigmas, and it's changing people's like you said, attitudes, changing their opinions, changing their views, and it does take a lot. Especially for guys, let's be honest, to change their views and ideas on stuff like this. But I suppose it's all about educating and keep on pushing it, and that's why we do what we do.
Yeah. Hi, Rodney. Thanks for joining in. Drop any comments that you want to drop in. Chloe, so what? I know you said you've been playing since 3. Was there ever any point that you thought, I'm not going to play anymore, or I don't want to do it anymore? There's been times. I mean, it's not been easy. There's always barriers, and I think at a younger age, and we all had the same experiences at school. I went through primary school being the only girl on the team, and turning up to tournaments
the comments that were made from the other team, the lads and I mean, we're primary school kids, but the mentality was there that, wow, hang on, there's a girl here about to kick a ball. And I'd leave it to do my talking on the pitch, and then they'd soon realise. But it went through all of primary school where I was the only girl on the team. And then when the Euros 2005 came along, there was a girls' tournament, and there was loads of girls' teams, but nothing came from that. It was a one-off. And then we'd go back to the tournament, to the boys' tournaments. And then it got to high school, and I went to an all-girls school, and it was just nothing, like you say, netball or hockey. That was the only two things. And if you wanted to play football, then there was no pathway as such. And to find the teachers that wanted to do it, and also the, you know, outside of school, the funding side of things. I mean, I was at a club from the age of 4 to 16, and at 16, you know, that club folded, as did the Centre of Excellence, or my local Centre of Excellence. Both folded, both because of funding. And that, you know, at the time, opportunities for for girls football especially was limited as it is. With them closing and folding, opportunities were coming sparse. And I hit 16 and I actually stopped playing football for a good couple of years, because one, there was no opportunity, but I fell out of love with it because I thought there was no pathway. There was, you know, that's not for you, it's not a career, women shouldn't play football, that's not a job, you know. And these were the comments I was getting. And you know, when you invest in women's football and girls football for so long, and that's the dream you want, to be told that so many times, it takes a hit. So you kind of have to look at it and think, okay, why is there not many opportunities around? You know, should I start believing? And then 2015, I think it was, the World Cup came back around, and the buzz for women's football started coming back. And more clubs locally started to get involved. And you mentioned it before, Nat, about, you know, and Zoe said that you play in different positions and you just want to do it for fun. And that's what started to come back around. And that's what got me back into it, is that, you know, life gets in the way, and I couldn't commit to 11-a-side full-time football, what my dream used to be. And I had to accept that. But getting back into just 6-a-side, 9-a-side, just having a kick about, having a laugh, getting the ball back at my feet is what people need. And I think that's starting to grow back a bit now with, you know, you don't have to, your dream doesn't have to be you want to be a professional footballer to get women and girls playing football. The opportunity, they need to know from an early age, they need to be able to try these things. You know, you know, they didn't have them there. If you loved it, you fell into it effectively when you were younger. But you've got to try these things to know what you want, and not be put in this box or this bracket that you should be fit and molded into a certain way because of your gender.
100%. And I think for me as well, you sort of hit the nail on the head. It should be about just playing it because you love it. I think when I was young, I knew I was never good. I knew I was never going to make it. Even if I wanted to, I knew I would never make it. But I think even just playing it because I love it. And I think what we said about, like, there not being enough teachers who want to do it, there's not being enough this. And I think even me, if I tried to go into coaching, for example, now, and try to go and join a women's team now, I think not that there's, like, I think there's less stigma, but I think even now there's a stigma for someone like, well, I'm a bit unfit and a bit thingy, but, you know, just even rocking up as a woman, maybe even coming to teach a group of young boys to then go and teach a women's team. There's not that, like you said, opportunity or that kind of drive to get like a normal, not saying like non-football background kind of person, because that's what you need. That's who you need to sort of open up these, you need the teachers to open up after school and do your things. You need someone who's passionate about football to run a girls coaching kind of thing. And I mean, I've tried to start, I know on this channel as well, and I know John Foster is still in, John Fry is trying to do it. And, you know, there's things that people want to do, but I suppose even someone like me, I don't feel confident to go out and know what I can know what I'm talking about if I watch it, but to know and play it. And I think there needs to be, like what you said, Chloe, that everyone can just grab a ball and 5-a-side or 11-a-side, 6-a-side, you know, because I think if the more adults are doing it, then the more kids will do it, because I think that's what you see. I think you see like local teams are probably run by the guys who go and play 11-a-side on a Sunday morning, you know, and that's what we need more of for women. Grown women like us need to be able to go and play 11-a-side, even if, like me, I'm like Zoe, run around. That's all I can do. Run around like a headless chicken. That energy doesn't translate into skill, just translates into passion, and I can run for days. If I want to score that goal, if I want to keep that goal out, but I couldn't tackle you. I give away a red card. I couldn't score a goal. It'd go over the other side, but I was doing it for fun. And I feel that's what we don't see enough of, just women playing football for fun, or because there's loads of women who love it, but not a lot of women that are probably playing it. What are you guys' thoughts on that? Would you like to see more 11-a-side women, no matter how good you are? Not good in my case.
I'd be up for that. A kick about. I'll go in goal. Get a couple of taps and we'll make some goal. No, yeah. I think, like you said, it's playing for fun, isn't it? You know, I remember, like, you know, I mean, I'm not like the fittest of people, but, you know, you don't think about it when you're doing something you love. I think that's the difference, you know.
Oh,
he's gone again. No, I you know, like you said, you could go to the park and see a load of lads kicking a ball about, but yeah, you never see any women doing it, and it is a shame. You know, it would be great if, I mean, you do see more clubs now, you know, popping up that don't, you know, you could don't have any ability, or, you know, no preference to the sex or anything like that, and just want people to just go along who do want to play for fun. It'd be great to see more of those clubs sort of being formed and you know, doing well.
Rodney's the gaffer. He's putting you as a striker, Emma.
Nah.
Yeah. I think I'm a defender, because I just like the aggression of it. That's what I like. Chloe, what do you play? What position?
I'm a centre half.
I think I love it. I think a centre half or a centre midfielder, but I can't like dictate or do anything like that. So I think probably you're best as a centre back who can run, or a full back, run up and down. That's what I can do. And I won't stop, and I'll put my leg or put my head or put my body on the line. But that doesn't mean I'm going to pass in the straight direction.
No, I don't even doubt that for a minute. Get me. I tell you what, I'm not even going to play. Just get me a cool box and a long black jacket.
On the side. But the thing is, though, as well, John, who's saying left wing back, left full back, whatever. I mean, maybe a boys and a girls team. That's maybe what you know, as adults. I mean, I know maybe, you know, it might be a bit this and that, safeguarding. Can it be done? But listen, I'm a CDM breaking up the attacks. Yeah, that'll be me. And then just 2-yard pass to the forwards to go and score. But I think that's what it is. I think, you know, I've got no talent. But there's loads of people that'll go out on a night out on Saturday, but be on the pitch on a Sunday, or be coaching the kids. Well, maybe not go on a night out on a Saturday and coach the kids, but, you know, and that's it, because they just want to pick up the ball and come on, lads, let's go and play. Whereas it's not, come on, girls, let's go and play. And it's that what you said before, that word, that stigma, and it's a stigma probably that's we're seeing reduced, but I think it's still there. And I think I probably still affected by it, because, you know, I don't want people to I don't know, like, think a certain way about you because you love football, or which is wrong. And then hopefully we'll see that change. And I think definitely with this Euros, we'll definitely see it changing. Zoe, I know you said you're a bit all over the place and you'll play anywhere, but what do you reckon? Because we've got a striker, we've got a midfield, we've got a defender. What are you, goalkeeper?
Yeah.
No?
I used to play in goal, and I'd happily throw myself around and, you know, do all the dives. I could make myself, I mean, I'm only small, but I can make myself big if needs be. I can take a person out without actually giving away a penalty. But my biggest thing was everyone used to somehow manage to get it through my legs, or I used to, do a goal kick and hit it into somebody and it'd go back in the goal. Daft mistakes like that. So, I'll give it a go though.
Yeah. John saying you're very Ertz fan, so yeah, you're a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
And Chloe, who's England Lioness, she's a striker, not scored yet, but put it down to lack of opportunity. Won a League Cup and got promoted into a regional league, though, which is good. I don't think. Well, there's I don't know if anyone knows, but Soph and Meg, who do Ladies in Red, and I'm sometimes on there. They both play, and they both played Tier 4. And they obviously come and watch the United Women when they can. Obviously, watch the boys and stuff. And they're always talking about on their show. I know they get a lot of views and stuff. And it's good to see stuff like that. And it's good to talk about Premier League and talk about the WSL, or talk about this is how I would do it if I was playing. Because then there's lads who you see, and they say, oh well, when I'm the same position as them, and and I know it's not the same levels, and it's a raising skill, but it is good, because then you can say, well, this is what we're taught, and this is how they've maybe not got it, but this is how they could do it. This is how I would do it. It is good, and I think if you see more women playing, that's a good thing. And like you say, Chloe, I don't want it to just be 3 years and then it goes dead, and I want it to keep going. And for me, I think it is through the league, it is through your club, it is through WSL getting visibility, Championship getting more visibility, hopefully soon, because that's the sort of. So I think the WSL has that visibility, and obviously now with the Sky, it's going to get even more. But then I want to see the Championship. I want to see Tier 3 as well, because there's some great football down there. I mean, what's everyone's thoughts? Do you think eventually we'll see more and more, like, to the level, maybe not to the exact level, but to a level like the men, and then we'll see more women playing? Anyone? Emma, Chloe, go on, Chloe.
It'd be nice too. I think we're a long way off. Yet, and that's always the ambition, is that we want to get women's football to be just on not having this talk of men's and women's football. It's just football at a level, at the same level. But it starts from the top all the way from the bottom, and the only way we're going to get that is if we invest in the youth, in the grassroots, for the women's team at schools and club level, because the funding needs to be there for them to progress and get through, because our younger generation is what's going to push the women's football further to levels it's never been before, and it has been growing, and it just needs to continue.
Yeah.
No, go on, Emma.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that, and I think what we have seen is obviously the Championship now. It looks, a lot of teams are going full time and going with that full time status. We've obviously seen some clubs go with that promotion as well, and coming up to the Championship League, National League as well. There's some clubs that are really beginning to show their ambitions and really instill that ethos within the club and their sort of vision for the future, and that's also really great to see. And I do hope, I would love to see it become more sustainable, especially at that level, and see more of those clubs getting those opportunities of being put on that platform and on that pedestal to be able to show what they can do, because there is some really good talent out there.
I think that's a great point of what Vicky's put in the comments there about international football, and that was always the case growing up. You would hear more about your international women's games than you would the clubs, and I think that's something that we need to look at as well, because we can't get consistency at the moment in the WSL, because we feel like we get going 1 minute and then next minute an international break pops up, and it kind of stops the momentum. And I just hope that's something that can be looked into, because it's a fair point that actually international football in the women's side has been more predominant than club level, and for it to grow, that kind of needs to flip on its head, and the international football will follow suit and sort itself out if we get the club level right.
Yeah, no, 100%. Because I think the more the clubs invest, and the more talent, and then the talent gets to spread out across leagues, like you said, full time. And I think we're seeing a lot of younger kids maybe that are not making it at a first team. They go into full-time championship teams, and then potentially those championship players will drop down to the lower leagues, and that'll boost their league. And I think it's happening. And I think there's a lot of money, and it's making it right. You know, I think it's happening. I think it's growing. But then there's money, and where do we put that money? And it's all that kind of thing. I mean, Zoe, I can see you nodding along there. Come in, or Emma, come in. Whoever wants to come in.
I think one thing I would say is we need to be mindful that there are a lot of people out there still that won't even give the women's game a chance, and it's not right. But I think that we need to be accepting of the fact that some people are never going to change, and it's this. We need to shift our focus onto that younger generation so that they don't grow up with those views being the only views, because they will have parents that don't think women should be playing football or whatever. You know, I mean, it's like when those rumours started with Casey going into the men's game as a manager, you know, the abuse she got, those stupid comments like, oh, get back to the kitchen and things like that. We're always going to have that. And I think to grow the game, I think we need to accept that we're not going to change everyone's mind, and we're not going to change those people's views. Doesn't make it right, but it's just about shifting our focus to that younger generation. Like we've all sort of said, they're going to have parents that think like that, but we need to give them other, you know, we need to have other voices that they can look to. And I think one way that we can do that is by, you know, I think it would have been really great if Casey had gone to the men's game. I think it would have been eye-opening for a lot of people. And, you know, it's people like Alex Scott as well. You know, I have a lot of respect for her, and she's had to work a lot harder to do the roles that she's doing than a lot of the men that are doing you know, that are being pundits as well. So, but people like that change. They still get a lot of abuse, but they do sort of change people's perspectives, and I think that's a really important thing that we haven't really spoken about, is what ex-players go on to do afterwards, and how they can play such a vital role in changing, you know, and growing the game. But yeah, again, I think a lot of it does come back to money and opportunity, and you know, we've talked about the talent within the women's game. The more teams that do go to a full-time sort of standing, the better, because that will help the talent, because a lot of those girls have a lot of natural talent, but you know, they're working other jobs and things like that. They don't have the time and that the men have had to improve on their abilities and grow as players and as people, because they're juggling all these things. So I think, yeah, it's investment is a key, but I also think a huge part of it is that sort of visibility of not just players, current players, not just younger players, but our ex-players as well, and you know, just getting in people's faces in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and I think John says, and I agree with this point, and that's why I sort of kept it on the screen, and I'll go back to other points. But you know, I think it's time we forget about. I mean, and I get that they're still there, all these stay in the kitchen mob, okay, but then the races are still there, and the this are still there, so people are still going to be racist, people are still going to be sexist. It's like what you said. It's about those ones who have never been to a game or are curious, because I'm hearing great things about Emma Hayes, the commentary that she did, obviously Alex Scott. So I think that it is opening up, and it is. We are seeing more. I think it's always going to be a fight, because, yeah, like I said, you're always going to have the sexes, you're always going to have the races, you're always going to have these people who are against things. But I think, yeah, like we're saying, the more visibility, the more, like you say, the more maybe like women are on Premier League shows and that kind of thing, even though we don't want to lose them from the women's game, and we want to keep them growing in the women's game, but it will. You know, people are like, oh, Alex Scott, she's good. And like, I know somebody who doesn't watch football, and then work today, she went, oh, that Alex Scott's really good, and she's an ex-women's player for Arsenal, and she knew about it, and she didn't know nothing about football. She couldn't name United starting lineup. She wouldn't know who Pogba was, but she knows who Alex Scott is, and she used to play for Arsenal. So I think there is that change. I mean, I don't know what you guys think, but I think that change is now it's there. We're out here, we're visible, and I think with this new deal, it's even going to be even more visible. But yeah, I just think.
I think they're ultimately.
It's how we go. Well,
yeah, ultimately, I think there is a lot more positive happening at the moment over the negative, and we've just got to find a way of drowning that negativity out of the women's game and be louder and just let's big up all the good stuff that's happening in the women's game at the moment and stick it on our social media platforms and use it and let people see it and see the good that's being done and the great things that the likes of, like you said, Emma Hayes and Alex Scott, and then not just them, just there are so many other people doing great things as well that don't get the recognition, and it really is exciting. I'm really excited about this upcoming season. I kind of feel obviously last season was a bit of a damp squid, to be honest, even with the good things that did happen with the American players and those players coming from Australia and one thing and another that have came over and lit up the WSL last season. I kind of feel obviously COVID over sort of took the shine off it a little bit for me, but I think with all the broadcasting and all the sort of things that did go wrong that were highlighted, across social media, like the Birmingham and obviously the stuff that happened at United toward the end of the season, I kind of feel like it's a really strong opportunity to put things in motion and put things right and get on the right path again. And I think it's going to be awesome to have fans back in the stadium because they certainly make the difference, and they have been missed. I've certainly missed going along to games, and I feel that this really does feel like the start of something good, something big for all clubs as well. I think a lot of clubs are going to benefit from this. Fans are just wanting to get back in the stadiums, and I think hopefully all of us will benefit from perhaps bigger increases in fans coming through the turnstiles as well, which I think does make a difference. And there's, investment again that that can go back into the infrastructure of clubs and see improvements, not just on the pitch but off it as well.
No, 100%. John Hume put a post in, and it was a while ago, so I don't know if he's still here, but he's just said about games, and now I think we're gonna see a lot of games. And at first, when I saw the Friday night, the Saturday, I was a bit like, and I'm still not super keen on it, but I suppose it does having 3 or 4 different time slots. I suppose, yes, we're not gonna fans that are going on gonna be thought of, but there may be more opportunity in terms of that.
Listen, I'm not being like, if I know a lot of fans are loyal to their club, but listen, if there's an opportunity for me to go to a match, if say City are playing on a Friday night and United are playing at Sunday at home, I want to go watch United. I want to go and watch them play. I want to see, what our opposition, our rivals are doing on the pitch as well, and, you can't get a feel for there's nothing better than watching a game in person. You don't get that at the telly, watching it.
I've already been invited to a City game, not by a City player, but I've already been invited to a City game, so you're definitely going to see me at a few games, Emma, maybe.
Well, who's invited?
I've been invited. No, it wasn't you. I've been invited. So yeah,
you can always come and sit with me.
No. I'm going to stand. But yeah, it's I'm going to go and see games. I love to see Sheffield. I went to see them before. I'm going to go and see the England Lionesses under 19s because there's a few United players in there. I think that's what I've always done. I think because there was no visibility, so you don't know how good each team is. I've always gone and put myself out there and gone and watched, and I'm actually gone to watch a few FC friendlies. Like I said, in 4th tier, I know John Foster's talking about going to see some 4th tier team that Meg plays for. Coventry are going to do really well. Blackburn are local to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll be going to see a lot.
Yeah, just champion these teams. Yeah, fantastic stuff. I mean, that's just what you've got to do. You've just got to. Everyone's got a social media, and everyone's trying to use it in a positive way. Keep doing what you're doing. That's all anyone can do.
Yeah. You can't sit with us, Emma, and cheer for the other team. Yeah, you've got to cheer for United.
I just won't say a word. You know what I'm
like. Yeah.
Just feel like muttering under my breath.
Yeah. No, but Zoe, are you excited to maybe, like what Emma says, there's going to be more opportunity, I think, with this TV deal. I know it's going to be stupid times, but if we go and watch United on, say, a Friday, then we've got a whole weekend, and yeah, you know, you go and watch the men's team, but will you think maybe about, like, going to a local team or going and seeing that? It's fine if not. Like, this is me just probably putting few people on the spot, but you know, say if then a couple of us go up to Sheffield or Coventry, you know, there'll be a time to meet up again, because that's what I feel with football. It's just about friends meeting up, isn't it, really, at the end of the day? So if, you know, a few people are going, like Villa, to see Wardy, definitely that's another one that I've been penciled in for when they play Everton. So, you know, but, you know, that's what I'm excited about, going to see as many people as possible as well, because COVID, we've been locked down. So just football, getting out and socialising, not always having to go to the nightclub, socialise at the football game. That's where a lot of my social life comes from.
Yeah. I mean, I always say, like, the Barmy Army has been so good for me. Like, I you know, just being with you all, you know, my confidence has grown, and you know, I've made lots of friends that you know, we talk all the time on WhatsApp and stuff like that. And you know, it's going to be. I mean, I can't even imagine that first game back and just seeing everyone again, and you know, it's going to be amazing. In terms of going watching other teams, I haven't before. I mean, I don't really need to go and watch City to check them out. I just turn on Team GB at the moment, but but yeah, no, I you know, it'd be great just to, you know, to go and find out what else is out there. Because like I say, you know, we make a new signing, and I just have to text you and say, are they any good? Because you know, I don't really know them because I don't watch anybody else. But it would be good to, you know, go and support those lower teams as well, like you've mentioned, you know, Sheffield, and you know, just to see what's out there, and just see the potential that's coming through, and just show support for these girls that have worked so hard against, you know, a stigma like we've all talked about tonight. And so yeah, just to support people living the dream, really. You know, it will be good to do, and I'm hoping that I can do a lot more of it next season, like you say.
Lone FC, mate. We travel everywhere. Now, Chloe, I'm guessing, you know, like John just said here, social side, definitely. I mean, I know with us, and even Emma coming on and chatting, and Rodney, and everyone in the comments that we know, and that's a miss, isn't it? So would you look at, I mean, I know obviously you play as well, so you're fitting a lot in, isn't it? But, you know, do you go and watch local teams and stuff, or if you can, or?
Yeah, when you know, and that's the bonus, I think, of having this TV deal, is that you're not going to be stuck with a Sunday 11 o'clock kickoff. They can move around, which frees you up to go and watch. I mean, I go and watch my local Nantwich ladies. They started up last year from scratch and have been promoted in their first season, so they've got a big season ahead coming in. So I will go and watch them as many times as I can this season, and the crew Alex around me of their women team, and you know, even as far as going up to Manchester or down to Birmingham, is if there's games available in the lowest leagues, I'll go and watch them, because you know, you've got to support, as women in sport, we've got to support our own to get that push, or else we're fighting our own battle and stepping on our own toes. So yeah, we've got to support where we can. So if it frees up more time to go and watch different games that don't come under United's name, then yeah, I'll go and do it. I live for that. It's fine.
Brilliant. Girls, thank you so much. I'm gonna we've been going an hour and 5 minutes nearly, so I thank you for putting up with me and listening to my waffle, and you know, just, well, not even waffle, just adding to the debate. And you know, I'm looking to do more of this. talking about championship that we were talking about, I've got Rich Leverty on next week, and we're going to talk about why I love the championship. So we're going to talk about some championship teams and who you should watch out for, who's been good, who's, probably even talk about it since the championship formed and United joined and how it's changed. So yeah, check that out next week at 7:00. And he wants to talk about our new potential gaffer as well. So hopefully it'll be announced by then. He can give his thoughts into the pot. So yeah, definitely check out next week. And obviously Thursday, me and John Foster are on tomorrow as well at 7. We've got Nancy Gilliam from Give Women Sport. So she did an article recently, I think, about our United in crisis. Obviously we moved out of that, but is there still a crisis? So definitely check out that and see if she's changed her position from that and her thoughts on what's been going on as well. So check out that show. Thank you, Emma, for coming on. Do you want to shout anything? Your fancast, your show with Rodney, anything? Just let people know if they want to listen to you more or read more or whatever.
Loads of stuff in there. And the Man City podcast is down at the minute, but it's MCW Fancast. We've been doing on and off the pitch with Rodney, and also Hold the Line, which is a phone-in that we've been doing. We did one a couple of weeks ago about the Olympics. If you want to check that out, it's on YouTube. Thanks.
Yeah. Class show next week. Chloe, do you want to shout out anything where people can talk, where people want to speak to you or whatever, anything?
I think everyone's just going to hit the socials and keep pushing the women's game and women's sport in general. I mean, like you say, we've got the Olympics on at the moment. We just got to push as much women's sport as we can. We've got the platforms now. We've got to use them and continue to, like you said, like Emma said before, we've got to squish this negativity and fill it with positivity, and socials is the way to go.
Yeah, definitely. Zoe, shout out your socials or shout out anything you want to know or want people to know.
Just follow me on Twitter. I've been a bit quiet recently, but that'll definitely change soon enough. And it's just great to be here. So thanks a lot, Nat, for having me. And it's great to chat to you, Emma and Chloe, and it's always and everyone in the comments as well. It's just great to be a part of this football community, and in particular the women's football community. So people don't know what they're missing out on.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have another show where we talk about how we've seen it change, maybe, because I'm guessing within 6 months and it being on Sky and all this, we'll see that change. So I'm sure you can all come back on and you can say, oh, we said it, or oh, they want this to be different. But yeah, thanks a lot, guys. Thanks everyone for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Hit the like, comment, subscribe, watch tomorrow. Thanks a lot. See you later.
Bye.